Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Dashboard Gear session. Today, we're going to be talking about the Report Distribution Kit from Dashboard Gear. Now, the Report Distribution Kit is a product that allows you to set up row-level security or personalization. Some people call it the ability to just filter reports. A common use case in business intelligence is to be able to create a report and then create it once, but have whoever's viewing that report see the content that's specific to them. So what I'm going to be going through today is the content within the Report Distribution Kit tool that's part of Dashboard Gear. Now, this is a separate product that we license to solve that problem of creating reports that can be personalized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple scenarios. Now, the first scenario I'm going to go through is I'm going to create an employee listing. And from that employee listing, I'm going to go through and set that to where specific users can see specific data. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a report. So you see what it takes to create a report that can be personalized. So this report's going to be done from scratch. And as you're going to see, it's going to be a very basic report, nothing fancy. But as far as the complexity, that really doesn't matter. So we're going to create an HR report. And in this HR report, I'm going to create an employee listing. So I'm just going to go to my employee master table. I'm going to say I can see certain employees, employee, first name, last name, department, whatever it is you want to add to this particular report. I can add that in. Now, the key to these reports that you want to filter is you want to have a parameter in them that allows you to see the data that you want to see. So for instance, if I go ahead and I create this report with the employee filter on it, and we'll go ahead and we'll add all these fields, and I'll run this, and we'll say get rid of that. So it's going to allow me to create basically an employee listing style report, where if I run this, it will be, here's my employees, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever employees they can see. You want to make sure you have a report that has a parameter that takes multiple values and can see all the things that you want it to see. So in essence, everything in the report. Now, the second key to that, to make it a little bit easier to personalize, what I usually do is I add another data set to this. That's maybe my list of employees. And in that data set, I'll go ahead and put it in my report as, in this case, select distinct employee, complete employee master. So it's basically going to give me a list of every employee in the system. Now, you'd want to make this look better, where I could say employee, and you could put their full name and all that in here as a second parameter, so the label shows better, because the reason for this second data set is we're going to give it as a list of valid values. And I covered this in a session around parameters with SQL reporting services in another YouTube video we did. But basically, the list of available values is coming from that, and the default list is coming from that. So if I run this report right now, the complete list of all employees is up here. I didn't have to do it, and they're selected. So it's all my employees in that database. Now, that's fine and dandy, but the whole point of this is I need a report. So I'll save this report to my webinar, and I have employee listing. I'll call it employee list 3, just so I get a different one here. Employee list 3. I got a new report, employee list 3. And if I exit this, and we're back here in SSRS, if I refresh this, hopefully we'll get to employee list 3. Takes a minute. Actually, I'll go back here and then go in there, refresh that. Here's my employee list 3. So when I run that, just like what you had before, it's just going to give me everything. Now, the key to personalizing these values is what we call report filters. And so we have this tool that's called the data distribution kit or report distribution kit. We often refer to it as, where we create filters. And in these filters, they can be any combination of fields from any table in your system. So if I go ahead and let me start this up over here on my side, we'll go into the filter section that's in here. What it's going to do is you can give it a name, whatever you'd like to call it. In my case, I created one called employee. And if I edit this, just so you can see what that looks like, I'll do add edit details. The employee filter, I told it what table we're getting the list of valid values from and what fields make up the filter. So in my case, it's the employee filter coming from the employee master, where the data element I'm filtering from is just the employee field. Simple as that. So that's my filter. Now I could create that for cost center, or department, or whatever it is that you'd like. Then what you do is you tie those filters to individual users or groups. So I'll go to me, for instance, and I'll pick the filter in my system that I want to set up, employee. So what this is saying is, for me, employee filter, the employee field in that is coming from a list where I can see employees 5 or 6. If I wanted to do something else, like say 100 pipe 101, that means I can see employee 100 and 101. So I'll do that. Then what you do is, once you have all your filters defined, you can add that to as many reports as you'd like. So I can go over to my filter reports, for instance, and I could say, I want to add this filter to a report, and that report I'm going to add it to is my employee list 3. Now this is saying we recommend you take a backup of that report, because this is going to modify that report. It's going to modify that report to include this filter logic. So I'll just say, okay. You then map the filter that you created to the data element or the place in the report that you want. And this is the whole point I added that list of employees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of filtering my base data set, I just filtered my parameter I set up for employees. I specify what field in that data set it is. And I want to make sure I say allow multiple if you truly do see multiple values, and save that. So what that's going to do is it added that filter to my employee list. Now what happens is, anytime I run that report, I'm just going to see the values of my filter. So instead of every employee in my system, I now can only see those 2 employees that are in there. So it gives you a way to personalize or secure, if you want to look at it that way, the values in the report for what you can see. So you can set up a dashboard or report, and each user only sees the data that they want. So for instance, on another sample I've got, I have a company filter, where if I run this company listing, I can see companies 2 and 200. And the reason for that is if I go back to my user filter mapping here and go to my user and find my company filter, this is saying that I can see any company that starts with 2. If I go ahead and edit this, I can say I can see any company that starts with 1. Now, if I go back and I run my listing again, company listing, now I should only see companies that start with 1. So that's how you define filters, map them to your reports. As you can see, a very powerful tool that allows you to personalize or secure the various reports in your reporting library. So I thank you for listening today, and I look forward to another session with you next Friday.